The Apple Watch Series 7 is finally here, and while some people are disappointed because of a few lacking features that were expected, others are really happy with it. So I thought I'd make this video as to why I think the Apple Watch Series 7 is the perfect smartwatch. Almost. It's almost the perfect smartwatch. Let's get into it. Now very quickly, just before we go any further, if you are new here to this channel, my name is Scott Edwards. I make all sorts of photography, video and tech related videos, so if they are the sorts of things you are interested in, consider clicking that little subscribe button just down below there and come and be a part of this community, which is growing very quickly at the moment, so it's massively exciting. Now I picked up my Series 7 Apple Watch in blue yesterday, and if you haven't seen, I made a very quick silent unboxing as well, so I will link that video up there if you want to go and check it out. It's a little bit different to anything I've ever done before, but it was good fun to make. So why do I think the Apple Watch Series 7 is almost the perfect smartwatch? Well, reason number one is that it does pretty much everything you could ever want it to. You can track all your health, you can make your phone calls, you can send text messages, you can check your emails, you can control all of your home appliances if you have any that are compatible with the Apple Home system. So you can turn your lights on and off, you can turn the heating on and off. You can control everything and track everything and just be in contact all of the time whenever you need to be. It is incredible. Now that isn't too different from anything we've ever been able to do on an Apple Watch before, because we've been able to do most of these things on most of the Apple Watches that have been released in the past. But is there anything else that you'd really want to do on your Apple Watch? I can't think of anything that we can't already do on them. Apart from like stupid things like being able to cook your dinner, but you can't do that on your watch. What am I on about? Where did that come from? You get my point. Now the second reason I think this is almost the perfect smartwatch is the design. Now I know this is kind of a contrasting opinion. I know a lot of people don't really like the design of the Apple Watch, and as well there were rumours of a complete redesign to the Apple Watch Series 7, but that never came true. What instead happened was we got a slightly bigger case by about 1mm and reduced bezels to give us an even bigger display. I think it's 20% bigger than the Series 5 and 6 and 50% bigger than the Series 3. So it's a fairly decent size increase on all of the previous Apple Watches, and I previously had an Apple Watch Series 5 before this one, and even I have noticed a massive difference in the size of the display. Even though it is only subtle, it makes such a huge difference because you can get so much more text and information on your display, and the buttons are bigger as well, and it just makes it feel like such a much more usable device than it was in the past, even though it has always been an incredibly usable device. The fact the buttons are bigger just makes it seem so much easier to use. Now would I have liked to have seen a complete redesign for the Apple Watch Series 7? Of course I would, because I love Apple products and I love when they come out with a new design for whatever it is they're creating. But you don't need to fix something if it isn't already broken. This is still an incredibly good looking device. It doesn't look dated, it looks great. I really like it. Moving on to the next reason as to why I think this is almost the perfect smartwatch, and that is now that the Apple Watch Series 7 comes with a keyboard. I've always liked the fact that you can send messages from your Apple Watch, whether it's a text message or replying to a quick email. However, I've almost shied away from it every single time and just got my phone out of my pocket because it's easier. Because previously you've had to scribble each individual letter or actually dictate the message with your voice. Now I don't tend to do that because if I'm in a public place it seems a bit weird just talking to your watch like that. I never felt comfortable doing it, and it took forever to actually scribble in the text using your finger. With the keyboard, however, I have already found myself using it to reply to messages more than I ever did with my previous Apple Watch before we had the keyboard. It works so well for just replying to quick text messages on the go from your Apple Watch, and surprisingly it is incredibly easy to use as well considering the size of it. The predictive text on it works really well and I've not had any trouble with it, even typing in the text, because you can use it to swipe around the keyboard as well, but even typing with your finger I've not had any trouble at all because Apple's predictive text is pretty good, let's be honest. It's very rare that you have serious problems with it, and even if you do, it's easy to just delete that bit of text and retype it, and next time I'll usually get it. It's incredibly easy to use considering how small it is, and I really genuinely quite like using it. Now, I don't know if that is to do with the novelty of having something new in the keyboard on the Apple Watch, but I don't think it is. I think it is a genuinely useful feature. Now, moving on, and this is kind of, I wouldn't say a good thing, but it's an okay thing, and kind of a bad thing as well, and that is the battery life. A lot is spoken about of the battery life on the Apple Watch and how it should be longer to keep up with other Apple Watches that can last sometimes weeks without being needed to charge. The Apple Watch Series 7, however, has a battery life of, I think it's about 18 hours. That to me is not a problem. I think that is plenty enough time for the battery life on an Apple Watch, because every night when I go to bed, I have my charger on my bedside table and I just stick my Apple Watch on that charger and it charges overnight. I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind doing it. I'm not someone who uses the Apple Watch to track my sleep, so that suits my usability of the Apple Watch. However, I can see why people want the battery to last longer if they are using it throughout the night as well, because the battery is going to need charging probably before you go to bed. Now, to try and combat that a little bit, what Apple have done is they have fitted the Apple Watch Series 7 with fast charging, and it charges up to 33% faster than the previous generations, and you can also get enough to track your 8 hours of sleep with 8 minutes of charging. So that's pretty impressive, and again, the battery life for me isn't particularly a problem. Where I would like to see a change in the battery life is when you are using the Apple Watch as a cellular device. So for example, if you leave your iPhone at home for the day and use just your watch. That is probably my favourite way to use the Apple Watch, is leaving your phone at home, just taking a pair of wireless headphones and connecting them to your watch so you can make all of your phone calls. I love doing that. However, when you do that, your battery life on your Apple Watch is gonna drain so quickly, and you've probably only got enough for 5, maybe 6 hours on cellular. So for me, because I like using my Apple Watch as a cellular device and without my iPhone, I would prefer extra battery life when you are using it without your phone, instead of a longer battery life. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Basically, I wouldn't mind if it still lasted 18 hours, but it lasted that time on cellular as well. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think I do. Anyway, this brings me on to the bit of the almost being the perfect smartwatch. Now, if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll probably know that I'm a bit of an Apple fanboy and I love Apple devices, so I personally find it difficult to find any cons to them because I use them all the time and I love them so much. But if you look back 6 years ago to 2015, when the Apple Watch was first released, they have come on such a long way. You can do so much more with them now than you could in that short amount of time. It's only 6 years ago since the first Apple Watch was released. However, you do still need your iPhone to be able to set it up. You need an iPhone to be able to have an Apple Watch. I think I'd just like the Apple Watch to be a bit more of a standalone device and not as reliant on the iPhone as it already is now, as it always has been. Maybe you might be able to set it up with your iPad or your MacBook. I think that would be a big improvement because you wouldn't be relying on your iPhone all the time. But again, if you've not got an iPhone, you're going to need your Apple Watch battery to last much longer. So overall, even though the Apple Watch Series 7 isn't a massive upgrade over the Apple Watch Series 6, maybe not even a huge upgrade over the Series 5, I do genuinely love this Apple Watch Series 7 and it is my favourite Apple Watch I've ever used. And coming from a Series 5 as I have done, even I have noticed a big difference in moving from the 5 to the 7. And I'm not just talking about the bigger screen, which makes a big difference, even the usability of it, because it feels much more snappier. It is much quicker to go through the user interface, opening apps, and there's less lag. It just feels a lot snappier and you can get to what you want to do a lot quicker. And again, with the bigger screen size, it makes me want to send messages using the keyboard and use the Apple Watch more than I did previously, just because it feels like a much nicer device to use. So there you go. For me, it is the perfect smartwatch. Almost. Would I like to see a complete redesign of the Apple Watch like everyone else? Of course I would, but I think Apple have got this pretty much spot on. If it's not broken, you don't need to fix it. We are so spoiled with how good tech is these days, and I think we just need to appreciate it a little bit more, because we do take it for granted now. We use it every single day, but that doesn't take anything away from how good all of these devices are. Not just smartwatches, but all of these devices we use on a daily basis are incredible. But anyway, that is enough from me. I am now starting to waffle. If you like what you see on this channel, don't forget to click that little subscribe button just down below there and come and be a part of this community. Go and check out my Apple Watch silent unboxing that is linked up there in the corner and down below as well. Let me know what you think, and I shall see you all very soon in another video.